Welcome, this is TeacherBot. All systems are functioning normally. And now let's get to the video. Great. Okay, so I'm starting on M2T1, which you can see here, and there is some code provided, but I'm going to just type that code myself, because if you look at the file, well, I don't have it open. It's got these line numbers in it. Let me show you what I mean. If you copy and paste this whole thing, you're going to be stuck with these numbers you have to delete, and it's probably not worth it. Okay, let me show you what I mean. So this is the code. So we could just copy this, but it's going to have line numbers in it because it was a printout. So that's not going to work because we'd have to delete all of these numbers. You're going to find when you're learning to write a program, it's easier to type it from scratch. Now, how are you going to get started? You're going to go to your CSC 134 repository, hit code, go to CodeSpaces, and start a new code space or open that up. And that will take you to here, where I have made a new file with this, and I have just started to type the program. I'll give you a few minutes to see what we're doing here. So it's a simple checkout program, and here's my main. I put my pseudocode, my comments here, set the variables, so I want to have first name, last name, and a full name. We're going to show how that works. We're going to sell apples. You can change this to anything you want. Please do. We'll change the cost each, and total cost will be calculated. We're going to greet the customer by name, and we're going to ask them how much they want to buy, figure out how much that costs. So if they want 10 apples, it's $9.90, or whatever else you sell. Now, I've put this code in now, and I'm going to give it a run to see if I have any errors. I had a typo before. Looks like we're good, so I can just close this again. It is running in the debug console. It says it finished, so I'll go to the terminal, see what it says. Welcome to our Apple store. That's great. Okay, so we'll now say cout. Okay, and then we're going to say cout. But for that to work, I need to set full name and plus a space plus last name. Okay. And let's see if this works. So now we're taking input and we're doing a little bit of processing to stick two words together. When you see the homework for this chapter, you'll see this happen. So I'll say my name is TeacherBot. And that works, okay? Now, I don't want to get into it yet, but if you try to enter one variable with spaces in it, it won't work. String, the cn command, assumes when you have a space between it that you're going to get both things. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say I type both of them on the first line, even though it didn't ask for that. It'll still work. I could say TeacherBot, or John Smith, or whatever, Susan Smith, and so that'll work too. So what that means is if you put a space, you're typing in the next variable. So just for now, go with the way it's listed, which is to type each one at a time. The other thing I want to point out that you might miss, if you have to click down here for this to light up so you can type John Smith. Looks good. Okay, we have our program started. Let's go ahead and check it in, and I want to say M2T1 started. I'm going to hit commit. This should look like yours. Good. So if you hit always, you'll stop being asked, but I'm going to hit yes so you can just see that message. Then you have to sync, which is actually shipping the package. And it's going to probably ask you if you want to sync, and you say yes, no. You can say yes or don't ask again. And now my changes are committed. So if I go back to my other repo, which I have in a different window, I can see that my file does exist here. Now, some people may want to think about putting things in folders. I can totally understand that. I'm going to probably do folders for Module 1, Module 2, and so forth. But anyway, you can see here I've got my program started. It's not finished, but remember, this is the link you submit when you're done. So you're checking your code in and then continuing. Okay, we're about halfway done, so let's put in the extra code. Cout how many Now I'm doing this with the no indel so that I type the question after a question mark on the same line. I feel like that's a little easier to read. You're going to have to think about, if you're not from the 70s like I am, you might have to think about, well, if a program is only in text, what's the easiest way to understand it? And that's mostly by being consistent in how you ask questions. Maybe you always have a question mark, maybe you put a colon, it's on the next line, but just make it clear what the user's supposed to do. My variable here was, I don't have one, so let me add one. I'll say int amount purchased. I could just say amount, right? But I'll do a longer variable. Cn amount purchased. Okay. And now we'll do a nice little receipt at the end. Oh, my Cn's facing the wrong way. The thing you can always remember is C out, the arrows face C out, and C in, the arrows face the thing you're putting it into. Because remember, the user's typing something in, it's going into a mailbox. Good calculation, just do a little bit of math. So I would say total cost equals amount. I can kind of tab that times cost each. Yep, good. Okay. And now I will say C out. I'm hitting tab to complete that, but you can just type the whole thing out. Let me put this in a new line. Sometimes I can't decide if it should be on a new line or not. You can kind of use your creative impetus on how you want to do that. That will be, put a $sign. Total cost. Thank you for shopping with us. Great. Okay, so I'm going to now try to buy 10 apples, see if they cost the right amount, and we should be good. Okay, Susan Evans, I don't know. Okay, Susan would like 10 apples. That is $9.09. We're good. Okay. However, if you want to add one little extra thing, which we'll use next time, I will explain a little extra technique. Okay, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to add a new line, include iomanip, and I'm going to put for the 2 decimal places. Okay, and I'm going to do this and say formatting, set all prices to 2 decimal places. And you do that by doing this, set precision 2 and fixed. So you're just C-outing, you're just printing out these special messages which will make it format a certain way. Again, you can leave this out, but it's a nice little extra trick, and it's in the homework as an extra credit sort of thing if you want to add an extra feature for more points. Include iomanip, which allows you to run this line, which is C-out, set precision fixed. I will tell y'all the truth, I do not memorize this, I just end up looking it up every time. It's not super important, as long as you can get it to work. If you know there's a way to do this, you can just type in to Google or Bing C++ 2 decimal places, and it'll figure out what you mean. Okay, I'm going to run this one more time, make sure it gives me the results I want, and then I'm going to check it in and be done with this assignment. Joe, Dean, and I would like 10 apples, and it printed out $9.90. Great, we're done. Let's submit. So I'm going to say finished M2T1, commit. You could hit always if you want, but I'm going to leave it the default to keep it easy for you guys to see what I'm doing. I sync my changes, which means it goes now to GitHub, which means if I refresh this page, here's the whole program. I take that link, I copy it. I'm going to throw it in a different tab to make sure it loads. Okay, good. I got a good link, so this is clearly what I would turn in for that assignment. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.